Calling all beings. Calling all beings.
Yeah! Can I get a man? Ha ha! Good evening, folks. Welcome back to Calling All Beings. I'm your host, DJ, on what was set to be a Bigfoot Monday night. But the one person that's missing is our guest, Doug Hajicek. But not to fear, because with me, you are in the very, very, very capable hands of none other than one of the original gangsters of CAB. She is one of the original gangsters of UAP Med. She is somebody who is spreading knowledge and positivity throughout the UAP universe. She loves her some Bigfoot, and guess what? She's even ready to babysit for free. So party people, put your hands together for At a Study of UAP. Dams!
Hi, everybody. Do you think that having dogs is practice for babysitting Bigfoot?
Matt is the only one here that can answer that question, Debs. You know that. And Matt, you better be clapping in the background. Right.
Yeah. Clapping away.
He's like, I'm not clapping for anybody, man.
I ain't clapping for nothing,
You guys
man.
are a bunch of socials, man. Okay? All right. And so, next, one of the newest members of CAB, a dude who has affected all of our lives, a dude who, the day they taught how to conduct a poor interview and ask bad questions, he didn't show up that day. He is an original gangster of the Bigfoot community. He is a 2-decade-plus researcher and broadcaster, and he's the host of Bigfoot Crossroads. So put your hands together for my man, Matt Knapp.
You hear that clapping
I
sound?
thought you were going to say I sat at the front of the class. I was the teacher's pet.
Not at all. Not at all, Matt. I've told people about you, and it's uncanny. Deb, is it not uncanny that he always seems to come up with something interesting to say?
Truly, he does. Mm-hmm.
It really is. You're really, really weird like that. Because if you screwed up a little more, I think I'd feel better. Like I'd feel like I'm not the only one. But amen. So Julie's in the chat. Jules, good evening. So Jules, I think Doug Hajicek, A, did not get my email. B, did not check his email because I emailed him a couple of weeks ago about a UAP issue, and therefore we don't have a guest. So I think that the cabbies will trundle along, doing our thing, and then we'll talk for a little while and see what happens. Mick is here. Mick Michaelis, as he is on Twitter. Mick Ashworth. Boom. Mick is, this guy's communications with spirits are really, really awesome. I listen.
Is he the ghost couch guy?
Yes, that is Mick. Yes. Rough and tumble human. I saw him flexing the other day. He's got a pretty low body fat count percentage. But moreover, yeah, he talks to Fuggy and a couple other spirits on there, and he's able to have some really good conversations. There it is right there. Bigfoot Crossroads, baby. Go get you some of that. He done been around. Thank you, Jules. And so Mick, thank you for being there. Thank you for engaging with CAB all the time, with Julie and the rest of us on Twitter. Or X, whatever we're supposed to call it now. It's making me think of ecstasy, right, Deb? Deb's ready to have me committed to some sort of a drug rehab. But we really do, all that to say, Mick, we really do appreciate you hanging out and supporting us. So with that, let me pass the microphone over to Deb and see what's on your mind tonight, girlfriend, since we don't have a high check.
Well, okay. So today I found out that ChatGPT couldn't be put on an iPhone. So I spent about 2 hours putting everything I could think of, including a letter to God, the chat GPT.
Really?
Yes.
Did
And
you
it
pray
was
for hair, by the way, for
I
somebody?
asked for emotional letters, and it was just amazing, and I'm like, "Are these unique each time?" So I did ask it to give me a write-up of how to deal with stigma, in conversations related to the paranormal. I asked it, like, what do other countries think about the paranormal? So if I had to say one of the things on my mind lately has been just the cultural sensitivity issue, and the fact that, today I actually saw a documentary this morning about someone in another country. I didn't actually have it like fully on in my purview, but it was just interesting to I think it was Mexico, but I could be entirely wrong. But the point is, it's one of those things I want to talk about. Um, like how is the paranormal treated in other countries?
Very great question. I was listening. Thankfully, Ash. So a couple things. Let's just get before we go to Matt. Let's just get to a little bit of housekeeping. So Nathan is out of town with the fam this weekend, so that's why he's not here. Leah is just avoiding me. I don't know if it's the hair, the glasses, or that I've gained a couple pounds. I don't know what it is. And obviously, right now, Frank is deep into his job. He's not even doing his own show at the moment, not no less cab. So we can certainly understand that. So you've got the other three cabbies here at the minute. So what was I going to say? And so Deb, you were saying with Chat GPT, are you sort of musing about how this can help? Are you looking to leverage this technology against the requirement
Right.
to lessen the stigma, lessen the ontological shock, and all these things?
Yeah, I think that it has obviously it almost immediately comes up with information. I asked for instance, some of the biggest cases, some examples of people being hurt by UFOs. And then I got into different countries and I asked, can you give me the best cases? And granted, Africa is an entire continent filled with lots of countries, but I'm like, can you give me the best African cases? Can you give me the best South American cases? Can you give me the best indigenous people cases? And I was a little frustrated because I think there is a bias in the programming because there's definitely not giving me a lot of information from other countries.
Yeah, that doesn't really surprise me now that you mention it. Also, one more bit of housekeeping is that Doug Hajicek, the director of Legend Meets Science and now Legend Meets Science 2, I guess he didn't get the message I maybe should have gotten. You know what? I can text him while Matt's talking and just let him know that Doug hasn't turned up, and he can text him just in case he wants to join us. But we would love to have his wealth of knowledge on here. Matt, please go ahead and either respond to Deb or just whatever's on your mind.
I'm also interested in how other countries and different, ethnicities approach the paranormal. I know that I have a few friends that are of Mexican descent, and in their family, I won't say it's on behalf of the entire culture, but I do believe in their family, but also in a lot of other places, the history goes way farther back than the United States does, obviously. And they've been dealing with the paranormal and things of a folklore nature for ever, much longer than the United States has. And they treat it as part of their day-to-day life. It is ingrained into their belief system. Whereas I feel like whenever it comes to that sort of thing here in the US, it's approached as like entertainment or a topic of study more often than it is something taboo that you don't talk about or that they take actually seriously. There's a lot of things that are in other cultures that are specifically geared towards dealing with the paranormal or dealing with curses or dealing with this or that. Whereas here, you don't really have that until you start getting into like Native American history and things like that. But the general population of the United States that are descended from migrants from other countries that ended up here, most of them really just treat it, like I said, as like something to study or, entertain themselves with, on TV, or watch a scary movie, or maybe, go on a ghost tour somewhere or something like that. And I think that's a really interesting contrast between modern US society and all the other cultures of the world.
I'm wondering if there's a language issue, that because it's in Chat GPT is English, but maybe some of these records are in a different language. It doesn't translate over. So I have to applaud you for doing that, though, Deb, because it's something that I didn't think of and a lot of people wouldn't have thought of. So rock on. But the Jewel of Indiana has a question for us. So I'm going to throw it to Deb's first. Deb's, it's right here. What has intrigued you most in your studies of the phenomenon? So you can choose any of the three, or however you want to take that.
I think for me, it's just how the people respond to it, because of my background with psychology, and I'm just very interested in people, and how people vary. So when people respond in so many different ways, and just the way they kind of either come together or start having big giant arguments, it's that part is the most fascinating to me. And we just talked the other day about how we have this strange bias against, for instance, topics like Bigfoot or UFOs, but we're totally cool with let's talking about ghosts. And you can go buy a ghost and put it out front of your house, and you can decorate your house up and down with ghosts. And someone wants to hear a ghost story at a campfire, and there's tons and tons of shows about ghosts, and everyone was like, "Ooh, I have a haunted restaurant we can go to." It's so different. But if you were to say, there's aliens, people are going to recoil. They're going to probably stigmatize you if you put a giant Bigfoot or a giant UFO in front of your house. It's just, to me, that's what's intriguing. Like, people just, their response to the whole thing.
That is really funny, Deb, and what a great way to put it. Because hell, there's Casper. There's major movies that I guess there have been major movies made about all of these phenomena. But I know what you mean. It's very normalized, the aspect of ghosts. Whereas if you had a big, go back a few years, you had a Bigfoot in front of your home, people would think like you're really weird. But Matt, that question to you, sir.
Growing up in a house that had, paranormal activity going on, it's always been kind of personal for me. It's always been a journey of trying to learn and understand not only my experiences, but the experiences of others. I think that's what's really got me hooked on it for so long and kept me here, kept my interest going. I tend to question, if I had not encountered what I believe was a Bigfoot, would I still be doing this? Would I still be part of the Bigfoot community? Would I be podcasting about Bigfoot? And I don't really think I would, to be honest.
Interesting.
Because that's another aspect of it is, the communities of people, experiencers, enthusiasts, everything else, all congregating together on the internet, forming these little nations of belief systems. You have a lot of arguing, and you have a lot of feuding, and not much learning going on, not much listening. And that's right. Very hard to navigate and can be extremely frustrating at times. But I hold out for, hope for, fighting the good fight, and that eventually truth will come out in any one of these areas. I think they're all important, because something that I've started noticing, especially after talking to you guys, the people who experience UFO stuff are going through the same psychological and emotional processes that people that see Bigfoot are going through, or people that do live in haunted homes and they don't know how to deal with it, and they're trying to find other people that understand what they're experiencing and being able to share those stories with one another. And whenever you can tap into that part of it, it's really an amazing and a very emotional thing to witness. And I know that I have personally grown from it, and it has helped me deal with my own situations.
So this is tangential. Before I answer this question posed by Jules, Matt, did the entities that were living in the home, did they scare you? Did you get the sense that they were trying to scare you or something like that?
You know, there was one that did. And I could be completely wrong about this. You know, it's so weird to talk about because you're talking about unseen forces, you know? So whenever I say that there was definitely two distinct things here, that was the belief that there was one that was kind of calming, not spooky at all, not scary at all. And then there is one that seemed angry and would mess with you more, and it seemed like it was trying to scare you. And whenever I was a little kid, you know, I grew up in the latchkey generation. You know, I was home alone at a very early age, and some of those times being left here by myself, even though it's broad daylight, things would start happening and I'd be here all alone, and it would freak me out. So in that aspect, yeah, there was one that definitely was scary. Now, things that happened before I was ever here, before I was born, that happened to relatives of mine in this house, there were some even more frightening experiences, which I didn't know about until I was probably in my teens, late teens. Whenever I started hearing some of those stories, they didn't tell them to me as a child. So I can't say that maybe I was subconsciously processing that stuff and that's why I was so afraid, because nothing really happened to me per se that was ever violent compared to other people. But there was just something about it, just the feeling of this one particular one was always, it just felt angry. And I guess that's what scared me.
Big time.
Yeah.
I mean, it's yeah, just you know, hearing about what you've related, I figured it did, and I just had to ask. I would love to know the percentages of people percentage of Americans that believe in ghosts, percentage of Americans that believe in a Bigfoot, and percentage of Americans that believe in UFOs. Because I would think ghosts would be much, much higher. Because
Yeah.
it's almost like everybody knows someone that has had a ghost. Okay.
You want me to get weird with that for a
Okay.
moment?
Yes, ma'am. Go ahead.
Okay. In the documentary I saw today, the gentleman said that when he had a non-human intelligence contact experience, they showed him his grandfather who had passed away. And Whitley said when he had his encounter, they showed him people that he knew. So I have to wonder sometimes if there's a connection, like there's some manipulation of who we are. But I think in the documentary that was sort of implied that they were showing spirits, like these entities are somehow in control of the spirits, like they have some maintenance of them, which is an interesting idea, which kind of goes a little bit into biblical ideas of angels and demons monitoring us and kind of swaying us one way or the other, and sometimes punishing us after we pass away.
What do you think about that?
Are you asking Matt? Because for me, I'm like, I don't know what's going on. It's just weird how often it happens.
I mean,
Yeah.
the idea of like, you know, NHIs or, you know, whatever you want to call them, crossing over into the paranormal realm and including spirits of deceased loved ones and things like that. I mean, yeah, from my own set of personal beliefs, that definitely strikes tones of demonic activity. It strikes tones of, you know, biblical things. You know, don't commune with the spirits. You can't trust them. You don't know if they're telling you the truth or not. Deception, things like that. But then it also, from the science perspective, you know, one path of belief whenever it comes to the paranormal and things of this nature is things operating on different wavelengths and frequencies than what we operate on. We're only able to hear and see things to a certain degree within a certain spectrum, and there's things that lay outside of that, and some of those things might be the spirit realm, or NHIs, aliens, whatever you want to call it, may be able to operate outside of our own perceived wavelengths. And so if something were able to do that, it might be able to have access to dimensions or wavelengths or frequencies or whatever you want to call it that we don't have access to. So it's possible that, say, an alien, for instance, could communicate with the spirit world if they have that ability.
That's a fascinating. I should. That's something to ask like Anjali and some of these folks that are in communication. But we got some stuff to get to from the chat before I even get to answer mine. And by the way, our friend from Bigfoot Influencers, Tim Halloran, did contact Doug Hajicek and texted him the link, so we may see him pop up. I don't know if he's used StreamYard. I'm gonna assume he has, and he knows that he has to use Chrome. But if he's using his device, then he should be okay. His mobile device should be all right. Let me get this because I'm getting a lot of. Okay. All right. So, question here from Michael. Hello, Michael, and welcome. As I said, and what Mick Ashworth also has some things. I'm convinced that certain people are more likely to experience these phenomenon. Why? Michael, I had an experiencer ask me that the other night. I don't want to say her name. She does work in government, in Intel, and she asked the same question: why are they communicating with me? And then Deb connected me with another person from government, a male person, and he has similar questions. Why me? And we just don't know. And it would be the height of speculation to offer a hypothesis as to why those people were chosen. If you look at it, spans from young kids to teens. Priscilla, the Quantum Witch, can tell you about some of those, into 20s and 30s, married persons, persons who are in their 50s and 60s, like Linda Thompson. So we really just don't know. And I wish I could offer you something better, but I think it would be so human to do that, just because we're thinking we only have the ability to view the world through a humanistic prism. And these entities may have thought processes that are completely different from ours. So I would hate to try to put myself in their place. What else we got? So Mick Ashworth, our friend Mick from the UK, says, so he does communicate with these spirits, and he has been told that Satan is really a D from another dimension. So Mick Ashworth, if you're there, if you're still with us, if you could finish the words in these sentences so we know exactly what you're saying. I think I know what you're saying, but if you could just be more clear on that, Mick, and retype that, I would appreciate it. Let's see what else we got. Okay, there are in control on the other side. They are in control on the other side. Demons are entities from another dimension. So that's what Mick is saying. So that would put it in the same space as the NHIs are. That from our friends that speak specifically with NHIs, or what they believe are NHIs, right, Deb? What they believe, because you don't know necessarily who you're talking to, right?
Yes.
So they talk about there's another dimension, and Mick is saying that what he believes, he's speaking with the spiritual side, former humans who are now, he's speaking with their energy or their spirit, are telling him also from another dimension. All right, man, we are BRB. Okay, got it, Matt. Thank you, brother. Okay.
By the way, DJ, someone
Yes, ma'am.
recently amended the comment about NHI and said that in terms of the Disclosure Act, that also includes AI.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that. Great point, Debs. Wow, man. That is really interesting because that's going to become another entity, although a computerized one. Wow. Okay.
And
I'm
I
sorry,
just
go
want,
ahead.
yeah, I just
Mhm.
want to point out that if that's NHI from another like galaxy or another dimension, it's still AI in that case, right? So like we still don't know obviously everything about what this is or um what the phenomenon is, but it has not been ignored that some of the objects, albeit decades and decades ago, may have been too small to have an occupant. Um, some of
Right.
them, some of them may be basically NHI drones.
Sure. Totally makes sense. Totally makes sense. Let's tackle this one from Michael here. It's funny, we got two Michaels in here. So if the next person that comes in the chat is Michael, you'll win a can of DJ Skincare Formula. Okay, I believe Bigfoot has both physical and non-physical components to them. Until you understand that, you're lost. I tend to agree with you, Michael. I would hate to characterize somebody as lost, just that they necessarily haven't been found yet. But the hypothesis we've been working on, and we'll pitch this, assuming that Doug turns up. He may be trying to get on his computer and get dialed into us. But if he does, we'll ask him this. But let's go through this thought experiment here, Michael. If we all believe that there's a Bigfoot exists, we know enough people who we trust. That many people can't think they're seeing something, from housewives to little kids to businessmen to hunters and fishermen and hikers and backpackers. They're not all just imagining this, right? Not to mention that Matt has seen a couple of them. If that's the case, and we believe that such a thing happens, is that a human will die and then its spirit will remain in a particular location, which often, as in Matt's case, was the house that he grew up in Tulsa. So what's to say that if a Bigfoot were to die and still his spirit would remain in that forest that he or she felt the most at home? Is it possible that is the ghost of a Bigfoot and is exhibiting characteristics? And this is not to say that there isn't a portal issue and dimension issue, or that Bigfoot is being abducted just like humans are. I'm not saying that that's not happening, but it could explain a lot of people, a lot of the characteristics that happen around the campsite, where they don't hear a Bigfoot approach, but they hear it leave, or they hear it approach and don't hear it leave, or they'll see part of a Bigfoot, but not the rest of it, only a torso. So if that happens, is it possible that there are Bigfoot ghosts? So I ask you that, Michael. If you can respond in the chat, that would be great. Deb, would you like to tackle that one as well?
I definitely think it's possible, and we've talked about this previously on another episode.
Yes.
And I also said we still don't even entirely understand what ghosts are. And it is even possible that some of them are almost like memory, that's
Screen memory.
sort of trapped and that we get to replay sometimes. So it does make you wonder, and this is just something to throw out as a thought experiment. Have there ever been ghosts of Neanderthals being seen? Because if it can be, say Bigfoot, which may be like an ancient species, who knows? Have there been Neanderthals or other hominids? I wonder. I think Matt is back if he wants to.
Hey, Matt. So here you go. This is from Michael, and if you'd like to weigh in on that, sir. Oh, is he back?
I mean, at this point, we don't know anything. What I can say is from my own personal experiences. Obviously, I've talked to a lot of witnesses, heard a lot of Bigfoot stories. And while it's not anywhere close to being the majority or even half of the witnesses that claim to experience paranormal and supernatural aspects, they still exist. They can't be ignored. There's enough of them that you have to pay attention to what they're saying. I've spoken to many people that definitely speak with the same sincerity and honesty that everyone else does, and they've experienced these things, so it can't be ignored. In my own personal experience, I originally, just by dumb luck, aligned myself with a group of people that were very experienced outdoorsmen and been doing this for a very long time. People who have claimed to have had these things on their family's property as they were growing up. And these are now men, you know, middle-aged men that had grown up with these things since they were young children. Learning about these things from, you know, the previous generations in their family that have had these things on and around their property on a regular basis. I was personally raised by older gentlemen from a different time that were outdoorsmen to the extent of the male figure in my life. That was basically my father. He provided for his 8 brothers and sisters, his entire family, by hunting and fishing as a youth. I mean, that's just the way it was. And I learned things from those people, and I applied that knowledge whenever I went out into the woods and I had a sighting. So I applied the same things that anybody would apply to go see a bear or go see a deer or any other wildlife in the woods. That led to a sighting. I'm not saying that I could go out and find a Bigfoot every time I walked out into the woods, but I was able to accomplish the goal. Then I started learning very quickly that these things behaved much more like people than they did like animals. They had progressive thought, strategic planning. You know, they would manipulate the situation. Whenever they're making a noise over here, there's one behind you that's not making any noise. There's a lot of attributes to them that people pass off as mystical or supernatural, that if you're knowledgeable about certain things, you know that it's not. It's just like animals being able to camouflage themselves and being able to remain still and silent in the woods because they have to do it to survive. To us, it's amazing. We can't believe that it's possible, but for them, they can do it. So things like hearing them come in and then not hearing them exit, that didn't really bother me. But then there was that one time where, and DJ, I've told you this story where I heard something running down the trail. It crosses the road in front of me, goes down the trail on the other side. And what I saw was the leaves moving and rustling like something was running by it. I saw a large blacked out silhouette that I could only describe as like what people describe a shadow person looks like in the dark. It was the size roughly of what I consider to be a Bigfoot. I'm 6'2" and it was taller than me by about a foot maybe. And I didn't hear its feet hitting the pavement as it crossed the road just about 20 feet away from me. I should have heard something of that size. If that had been a person running barefoot or in shoes, I mean, clomp, clomp, clomp. I quickly got up to the trail where it had just gone down and there was nothing there. The leaves weren't moving, nothing. It was like it had just completely vanished. And I don't have an explanation for that. And that was in the same location that I had my sighting the first night through a night vision scope, where everything about it was a physical creature. So yeah, it's certainly possible. There's definitely things going on in the woods that we don't understand yet.
I think that's the key to it right there, because if you could have answered that question. And Tim says, "Hey fam, my middle name is Michael." All right, Tim, that would have been 3 Michaels in the chat, which puts us, I think, at our limit according to StreamYard. I'm kidding. All right, but what you've said is, if you could answer that question, Matt, you would be the star of the entire Bigfoot community, because these are the questions that have not and I won't say cannot be answered, but have not been answered for generations, right?
I mean, are we dealing with one thing though?
No.
That's the thing. That's one of the things that surprises me the most is if someone is out in the woods looking for Bigfoot and they experience something strange, they automatically attribute it to Bigfoot. And I think there's more than just Bigfoot out there. And I'm not talking about just dogmen either. You know, lots of people talk about dogmen being out there, but
What
I'm
you
talking
about Willis?
I'm talking about all sorts of things, man. If a demon can be in my house, a demon can be in the woods. If a ghost can be in my house, a ghost can be in the woods. Multidimensional beings, everything else.
I'm sorry, those demons are restricted to the front door. They cannot exit. I'm just kidding. All right. So that's a really good point that I hadn't even thought of. So we're going to get to that with Blake's question as well. But let's finish up with Michael. Michael, what I would say to you is this. Deb might get sick and throw up now because she's been hearing me say this for the past 2 years. But try not to think in terms of it's this or it's that. Try to think in terms of it could be this and that. Right? So Matt saw the flesh and blood creature through the night vision. Matt had a situation where he heard it but could not physically see it, but saw the leaves move. And also, could there be a component where they're interacting, where there's an interdimensional component that none of us can say or can even prove at this point until someone says, I saw one step out of a portal. So is that possible? Yes, it's possible. But what the overwhelming proof is physical creature that procreates, defecates, breaks trees, rocks, wood knocks, the whole 9 yards, throws rocks at people when they're fishing at the place that they like to get fish, etc. So hold on, I'm getting this let me copy this link and send it to Mr. Tim real quick. There we go. Sometimes these links die, believe it or not, and they don't. I've had to give people the link, and sometimes you give it to them again and it works. But anyway, Michael, I would say be open to the possibility to put it in straight terms. Be open to the possibility that there certainly is a flesh and blood creature that's walking around. Also, there may be a ghost aspect to it that we can't prove yet. And there also may be an interdimensional component. And if you keep your mind open that way, you won't say somebody's lost because they don't agree with your hypothesis. They just haven't maybe expanded their aperture yet. But you could also expand yours, and I can expand mine as well. All right, let's go to Blake. Okay, Blake says, why does, and this is going to you, Miss Deb, why does the demon seem to fit the profile within a Christian upbringing context? I have fought them as an adult, and it stemmed from being a Jehovah's Witness at birth till I was 12 years old. What's interesting, Blake, is you've picked the one night when Nathan, who has a master's in religion, is not here and went to seminary, and it would be perfect if he were here. But Debs, you were brought up with a Catholic education.
Yes.
What say you, ma'am?
Well, I think when you talk to religious people, which I have as of late, there's a way to put things in context in terms of religion in general. We tend to fall back on our schemas, our understanding of the world. And in religion in particular, there's a big emphasis on good and evil. So if we see something acting in a way that's not what we would expect to be good, then we call them demons, essentially, and or tricksters or jinn, depending on your culture, So I believe that that's the issue. I think it's just a matter of context. And I believe sometimes some of those religious texts were trying to describe what they were dealing with. And they follow on words like demon. So, it's sort of like which came first, the chicken or the egg.
And Dr. Pasolka, if you listen to some of her interviews, maybe the most recent one with Concrete, basically, oh no, that's fine. That's fine, Blake. Just, whenever those questions come up, it's really good to have someone who spent a significant amount of time studying it. but Dr. Pasolko said that that she believes that the descriptions of angels, some of them look like the Greys did. So let me hide this here because our special guest is here. I'm gonna have to come up now. Here it is. So thank you for that question. But thank goodness for my brother Tim Halloran from Bigfoot Influencers, because he was able to reach out to my man, our special guest tonight, and he has joined us. So without further ado, party people, put those hands together for Mr. Doug Hajicek.
Hey, how are you?
Can I get an amen for Doug Hajicek?
Amen.
I made it. Sorry about that.
Hallelujah. How are you, sir?
I couldn't comprehend my day could have gotten any busier. So I didn't even check my calendar towards the end of the day, and I should have. And I apologize.
It's okay, brother. We are all good. We're happy and honored to have you. And even late, we're still happy to have you. And you know what? The first mystery that I want you to unlock for me is the Doug Hajicek and the Jeff Harding mystery. Because
go ahead.
I listen to the podcast. I listen to your network.
Yeah.
Of shows, which is called is it the Unknown? What is it called
Untold
again?
Radio Network. Yeah.
Untold Radio Network.
Yep,
So you guys check that out. So the Untold Radio Network has hosts. He has Bigfoot Influencers. He has Dr. Russ and Brad Kennan, right?
Yep, wide open research. Yeah.
The Down South Anomalies, who are awesome, husband and wife team. Which I wondered, I because she's always interrupting him. So, oh, they're husband and wife. Totally makes sense. And then Jeff's show. What is Jeff's show called?
Pine Island Research.
Pine Island Research.
Yes.
Also from Minnesota.
Correct.
Okay. Are you sure that you are not Jeff Harding? Like, have you guys ever been in the same place, photographed or filmed at the same time?
No, we haven't. So there you go. Yeah, it could be.
Oh my God, Doug Hajicek, you are Jeff Harding.
No, I'm not. But anyhow,
You're not?
But Jeff had to cut back, and we're hoping he'll start recording again here by the end of the month. And he just wanted to spend more time with his kid and his family, and God knows, it's like
terrible things. I mean, who should want to do that, right?
But we love Jeff, and hopefully, at the very least, damn it, he's going to be co-hosting shows. So
awesome. Yeah, he's an awesome guy. We'd like to get him
Jeff.
get him on the show one of these times. But I'm like, when I listen, I'm like, I'd call Tim Halloran. I go, Tim, Doug sounds exactly like Jeff. Are these the same person? What's going on here?
Oh, no.
But you're not the same person.
No,
just
not
Minnesota
same.
accent
No.
is the only thing.
Yeah, it could be. So where are you from, DJ?
Okay, I'm from New York.
Oh,
actually.
okay.
I'm an Air Force guy, career Air Force guy.
Very cool.
About 30 years in government. And what can I say? I love UFOs, Bigfoot, and paranormal. I'm
So
just
do I.
really weird. So
So do I. I love it when I'm not alone. If I'm alone, I don't like any of it.
No, absolutely, man. And you know what? So I've heard Jeff's encounter. I would love you had an encounter. Jeff's was when he was like, was it 12 or 15 years old?
No, he was like about 15.
15. Okay.
Yeah.
And what was yours?
Oh my God. I was probably my first kind of weird encounter in the woods. I was probably about maybe 19, 20.
Mm-hmm.
I was young, and my uncle had invited us up deer hunting, and he had this all planned, and it was me and his sons, my cousins, and my best friend. We all went up there. I love my uncle. We were really close, and he had made these beautiful deer stands about a quarter mile apart up in Orr, right on the Canadian border, literally just feet from the Canadian border, thick forest. And he puts me up on my tree stand at like 4 a.m, pitch dark.
Yeah.
And I had never gone deer hunting ever, first time. But I was a grouse hunter, and I'd done other types of bird hunting. So I'm sitting on the deer stand, and the sun starts coming up. And all of a sudden, I hear what sounds to me like gorilla beating his chest, really loud. I mean, my whole body was shaking from the bass. And I was like, oh my God, what is that? And all of a sudden, I got blasted with stink. Terrible smell. It smelled like rotten flesh. So I covered my face with my hood, my coat, my scarf, and I'm breathing through all this stuff. And then everything left as quick as it all came. But here's where it gets weird. I go back to camp at noon, for everybody's going to meet at camp, safety check, all that stuff. Go back to camp, and everybody in the hunting party had the same exact experience. And my cousin Mark said, I think that was a Bigfoot. And I'm like, what? It's Minnesota. Bigfoot's in Minnesota. And he's like, oh, yeah, they're here. And I was like, well, how else? And we're all talking about it. How else do you explain this? What I could only categorize as intimidation behavior. That's all I could say.
You guys must have like a huge population there. I'd say huge because we don't know, but I would think you'd have a significant population there compared to the rest of the country.
But here's the thing, DJ. No one wants to talk about it up here. Bunch of stubborn, people from the old country in Minnesota. They see a Bigfoot, it's just like, they grunt. Yeah. That's it. The end of it. They're going to talk about it. Even if they see it with their wife, they're not even going to discuss it.
To what do you attribute that to? Like,
it's
what
the
is that
German,
mindset?
Norwegian heritage here. It's just a lot of really kind of, I don't know how to put it. I don't really want to say stubborn, but kind of indifferent to things. So if they see something, they're going to blame themselves. They're the ones that were not looking close enough. They were the one that screwed up. They were they'll blame themselves because it couldn't possibly be. So it's over. But what I love is dragging stories out of people. And I'm not lying. It takes me up to 2 years of nagging people to get them, because I know I can see right through when I say to somebody, have you had a Bigfoot sighting? And they go, no. I can see right through their BS. And it's usually it's the other way around. Someone says they have one and you're looking at their BS. Not in Minnesota. It's the opposite. You got to look at them and go, have you got a Bigfoot sighting? And they'll just instantly, no.
You're a damn liar.
and so I'll just keep asking them. It's like, come on. And there was a great example of it. Was a friend of mine really close to, Ojibwe man, just an amazing guy, just fun to be with. Great. I kept asking him, I know damn well you had a Bigfoot. No, I didn't. He was also like a wildlife supervisor of the tribe and kept bugging him. 3 years. We're all out to dinner with his parents. And out of the blue, he just goes, okay, I'll tell you.
And you're like, I knew it.
Yeah. And then we're just like, and I hadn't even asked him that day. It was one of the few days I hadn't asked him. And he tells the story, and his mother, who was like 80 years old, literally laid into him and slugged him in the arm and said, why didn't you tell us? So there you go. If that's Minnesota in a nutshell, there it is. Great people, good people. They'll do anything for you. But man, they're not going to tell you about their sighting. A UFO could land in their backyard and it's just like, Martha, do you see that? No. Shut the curtains. That's the end of it.
That is so hilarious.
Yeah,
I love it. Thank you for making me laugh. And
Yeah.
by the way, one of my favorite pilots and favorite officers I flew with is Troy Broskowitz from Evelyn, Minnesota. So Troy, rock
There
on,
you
brother.
go. Ask Troy. Ask Troy exactly if he doesn't agree with me.
I will ask him this. He flies for FedEx or UPS. I always get confused which of my friends are
Evelyn
for
is
which.
where my mother was born there.
Evelyn, yeah.
In fact, I got a call from Evelyn last night, swear to God, from my cousin, who I haven't talked to in years, who decided we just started talking about what happened to us when we were young, about the deer hunting.
And
I'm going to get him. He's like, yeah, I'll come on your podcast. I'll talk about it.
Hell, you better. He's your cousin.
But
so
he's
shout out
one
to
of the few that lives up in that area that would. Trust me.
Yeah, I'm going to ask Troy about this. He's struggling a little bit right now with the UAP disclosure aspect because Troy, I mean, he's a retired colonel. He's very, very concerned about national security, and so that's sort of his angle. and he's having trouble juggling. David Grush saying that this needs to come out. That
is he one of those guys that says, "I used to believe in UFOs until the government admitted they were real"?
No. I mean, Troy believes it. Troy's been on the show, actually. He was on a show with me. We had Chris Lato, the F-16 pilot, who's pretty big in our community. And I had Troy. We did like a pilot episode, and he told some stories about me and so forth. So it was fun. So he does believe in it. But as far as the grand disclosure of these SAP programs that are very secret, it makes him... I also have a friend who's a Navy SEAL. It makes him uncomfortable because these guys have TSSCI clearances. And I need to have like an offline conversation about just about Grush and that whole thing. And I sent you an email about that, and I can enlighten you a little on what I know about the mechanism.
Oh, yeah, you did. It was a while back too, wasn't it?
Yes, sir.
I read that with great interest.
Yeah, so if you if I will, I've sent you my phone number, and if we connect, we can get into that. But before I go further, I want to introduce. We don't have Nate, some of our co-hosts tonight, but I do have one of the originals here, Deb. She's a mental health professional and a researcher and analyst of UAP. So say hello to Mr. Hajicek, ma'am.
Hi, nice to meet you. Welcome to the show.
Hey, am I talking to Deb?
Yes, that's me.
Deb.
Oh, hey, Deb. It's great to meet you.
And you may have heard of Matt Knapp, host of Bigfoot Crossroads, Bigfoot Outlaw, somebody who's been researching for a couple of decades. So, Matt.
Hey, Matt.
Hey. Nice
I literally recognize his icon.
Well, then I've done my job.
You've done your job. I recognize your icon's almost famous.
Oh, wow.
I love it. Matt always does these pauses when I introduce him, and they're just these pregnant pauses are wonderful. We also
what do you call those? Pregnant pauses?
Pregnant pauses.
I love it. Oh my God, that's so good.
Right. I know you're a film guy. I mean, who am I talking to here? You're a film director. Director of Legend Meets Science, director of Monster Quest. I even have friends in the UK that are fans of that. So, and now Legend Meets Science 2 is upcoming, and we're going to get into that. But Deb, Julie, thank you. You're the best chat moderator there is. Thank you for putting that up there. Untold Radio Network on YouTube. I listen to it on Apple Podcast, and I'm sure you can find it on Spotify and everywhere. They have a great variety of shows there. That's the main thing. What's awesome about this network.
Thank you. Yeah, I think we do. Oh, we have a new show about to start up in September called Grasping Bigfoot. That's with hosted by a scientist. So it should be interesting.
I love it, man.
Yeah.
I love it. It's just getting better, man. I dig that kind of variety. Different takes, different attitudes. I heard some great stuff on there. Matt, so take it away. Maybe your first question for Mr. Hajicek.
Well, first, congratulations on the successful campaign for Legend Meets Science 2.
What happened, baby?
I am a contributor. I fully expect to see my names in the credits as promised.
You will. I'm just going to put your icon.
Yeah, just do that. If you can just throw my URL up there, that would be great.
Matt, we can as a joke. We can actually put your name and your icon there.
That would be awesome.
You'll be the only one with an icon.
I got the exclusive.
There you go. We'll give you the exclusive icon. Actually, you need to donate like $10 more. We'll throw the icon in.
Hey, I would do
I'm
it.
Joking.
I would do it. Now, what I really want, though, I'm sorry, DJ, I'm going to have to hijack it. I want a Monster Quest hat, man. You had sent one to Lauren Coleman.
Oh my God! I'm looking at two of them, the last two in the world, right here.
I don't even know how long ago.
How bad do you want it, Matt?
Really bad. You had posted a picture of one, I think, or maybe it was just some kind of promo, and it had one in the promo. And I left a comment saying, "How do I get that hat?" And you said you had sent it to Lauren Coleman, and Lauren wouldn't give me the hat. He wouldn't give it up.
No. Actually, I had a guy call me, and it's funny too because he's a friend of mine. He calls me and he goes, "Guess what I just did?" I'm like, "What?" He goes, "I just paid $496 for a Monster Quest hat with your signature on it." I said, "What did you do that for? I'm your buddy." I would have given you one, but anyhow.
Well,
whatever.
I mean, I know you're not going to give up too much, but what can we expect to see in Legend Meets Science 2?
Oh my goodness. Well, that's a long list Today we had a meeting on, we're doing some field efforts, which are unique. One is Adam is up right now, 30-day, it's camping alone, 30 days in northern Minnesota up by the Canadian border. We have as many as 27 cameras live. These are small cameras that are record constantly, constant recording, or they'll record certain events. But for the last about week, we've had all of the IR lights turned off because we've had a really good moon that's been lightened, just giving us a beautiful image out in the forest, all over, camp surrounding his tent, because Adam is bait. And I'm not joking. He's had already 2 huge slaps against his tent. He was freaked out. He calls me up one morning. He didn't call me up when it was happening, but he claims that there was something huge and big breathing inches from his head in the tent that was just, just like right through the canvas. And,
Oh, wow.
and that went on for quite a while. Then his wife came up to do a conjugal visit. You know how that is. So he went up there for a few minutes.
Hey, 30 days in the woods, man.
Yeah, exactly. You can't blame it. So she goes up there. First night she's up there, she falls asleep, but she's on pins and needles, right? So she hears a zipper of the tent open up. Just the front zipper of the tent door open up all the way. And she's looking at the tent door, but it's not opening. She's like really confused. Then she realizes the sound is coming from behind the tent. There's no zippers back there. Then she looks and she thinks, oh, maybe Adam unzipped his sleeping bag. She looks at him, sleeping bag zipped up, and he's sound asleep.
He's asleep. Yes. I heard
Then she's thinking, oh crap, something just mimicked the tent zipper sound. That's not my words. I'm just passing on, what I've heard. And that's the kind of, to give you a taste of some of the activity. They found a footprint up there the other day that was 16 inches long and 3 inches deep, and other footprints where you could see where it walked out of this peat bog and walked in again. So stuff like that's going on, but we haven't gotten the big guy yet. So, but we have 9 days left. Tonight's Operation Baby's Crying. So we have a different operation name every night. And I can watch these live, which is really cool.
Is
I
Alex
literally-
Hajicek swapping out SD cards as we speak?
No. Actually, I get to monitor them all on my phone.
Oh, awesome.
And then what I can do is I have groups of cameras, like the tent group or the woods group, or the left part of the woods or the right part of the woods. And we've done things like Operation Ring of Fire, where everything's off. And then if we hear anything, boom, we can hit a button and they all come on. Or last night we did Operation Dead Battery, where we prematurely pretended the batteries went dead. And that's what's precipitated the other activity. If that makes any sense. So we thought we would recreate that, but the batteries aren't dead. So if we hear anything, Adam, or flip all the cameras on, even without the IR lights, because we taped them off. So we can flip on the cameras without disturbing anybody or anything, hopefully, and then start recording. So we're doing different things. We're trying to be really creative. So
all I can say is that incident where it was breathing next to him as he was sleeping in the tent is the reason why we need adult diapers. Is for
That's
scenarios.
Exactly it, man.
Yes.
That's exactly. And you know what? First off, Adam's got gonads the size of Manhattan.
Yeah.
For staying in the woods alone with all this activity. Because I'll wake him up at like 2 a.m. and say, Adam. He'll say, I'll get back. What? Because the cameras have two-way communication. Each camera. So I'll say, I need you to get up and make a couple of wood knocks. Please. And he's like, F you. I'm like, no, Adam, really, I really want you to. I've got you covered. I see the whole camp. Perfect. You're good. You're clear. Okay. Just a second. And it's like the stuff this guy does. And I'm like, God, you are brave.
Oh
So-
my god! I seriously, man, I can't believe you made Doug. You are so cruel. But let me pass.
Yeah,
it to Deb.
actually, you know what? And then here's what's really crazy. He's getting out of the damn camp, and we're heading up to even way up there, way up by the, and we're getting pushed in the Arctic where there's caribou. So me and him are going up there after this whole ordeal. So the poor guy gets like 1 or 2 days home, and then we're heading up to the Arctic area, subarctic areas.
You're gonna have to drag him out of his house, grab the collar of his jacket. And
I
all
was
of
gonna
that.
say you better have the motor running
he's
at
totally
the curb.
fine with it. He's like, what did I call him yesterday? I said, "Oh, Tarzan."
An idiot.
No. Oh my God! I hope Adam never sees this.
No, this is.
I called him
I
Tarzan.
salute
'cause
you, Adam. That's what I have.
Yeah.
To
That's
say.
what I think. And I said to Adam, I said, "Dude, if we can nail footage, because of the effort, and there's so many people, aware of this." I said, "We will throw you a ticker tape parade." Literally.
Absolutely, man. That is, like you said, 30 days in that kind of terrain alone, pretty isolated. He's probably
Pretty isolated. No, it's damn scary where he is.
scary
It's
isolated.
really isolated. Yeah, it's
Okay.
he's got a swamp behind him, but just a
Mhm.
bunch of trees and brush. And then on the right, it's just old growth forest as far, forever. And then on the other side, it's a little bit younger growth, but it goes forever. And it's just there's one ATV trail like a half a mile away, and nobody uses it. He hasn't seen really much any. He's seen one person, but here's the clincher, guys. He has no vehicle.
Oh my god! You got that.
This is where
You
it gets
literally
really
dropped it.
brave. He has no vehicle.
Okay,
Nothing.
Doug, let me just say this now because let's just get this out of the way. I want to book Adam on the show when he's back in civilization.
Absolutely. Oh my God.
Assuming
he deserves
you bring him
it.
back not in pieces. If you can
Yes.
bring back
Yeah.
the
Somebody,
entire
somebody,
Adam.
somebody in chat the other day said, maybe we'll get footage of Adam being eaten alive. I'm like, oh,
Little
and Adam
Timothy
was
Treadwell
watching.
incident.
Adam was on my show, and then we beamed after the show. We let people see what we were. We just put one camera up on YouTube, so people could understand. And Adam gave a whole tour of the camp, and it was really cool. I think it's probably still up there. I can send you a link, and you can put it in of that particular tour.
Absolutely, man. And
Yep.
he is 100%. We want him.
All
coming
right,
on the
I'm
show.
gonna
100%.
personally tell him tonight.
Please, thank you.
Yes, and definitely you should get some confetti or something. I don't know.
I will. We will pull out all the cabbie tricks. Hopefully,
Oh,
we'll
there
have
you
you in
go.
full
Okay.
house. We will celebrate him. I promise you.
He deserves it.
Uncommon valor is what they
He
call that.
deserves
Debs.
And
Please go
somebody,
ahead.
I think it was Michael. I'm looking at the comments. Says, "Hey, Doug, are Bigfoots indigenous or dimensional, or both, or whatever? What do you think?" I have no idea. I've been studying these things for going on 35 years. I have zero idea. That's why I'm willing to try everything and anything, because I do know this. Here's what I will tell you, Michael. There are no perfect creatures anywhere in the universe. Period.
No perfect creatures. Did you say?
Maybe God is, but that's it.
Right,
Maybe people,
right.
but I don't think there's any perfect sub creatures that are.
And what does
perfect.
that mean? In what context do you say that?
Meaning they're going to have a weakness. They're going to be able to learn. We can learn something about them. We should be able to photograph them possibly. So I just don't think that something can fool everything 100%. Look at the Patterson-Gimlin footage. I believe it's real. I've studied it probably as much as anybody.
100%.
And I was the one that discovered the hernia on the right leg, on the thigh.
That was
put that-
amazing.
and put
I
that
just
in
saw
there.
that in
Yeah.
your movie.
And
Amazing.
so that it's things like that I thought, well, this is overlooked. No one ever talked about this. It's kind of weird. So I did that. I've done studied the gait, which is far more than just a bent knee gait. There's also this Peruvian gait. Look up a Peruvian horse, the way it walks, because they're the only naturally gaited horse. And they're designed, they climb mountains. And so they don't teach them this weird gait. That's the way Patty walks. In and
That's
out,
really interesting.
twisted legs, splayed legs that splay out and then splay in, knock-kneed. Man, there's a very complicated gait. And so one of the things we're going to do in Legend Meets Science, which we did in one, We showed how the walk is, but we're going to get far more detailed this time.
I would love to see that. It would be great to see them either from straight on in front of them at your
Right.
360,
That's
or
what
from
we
their,
did.
their
Right.
6
We did
o'clock
that
position to see that.
Right. We did that in one, but we actually put it on a treadmill, a circular treadmill. So you can study it walking forward, in front of it, above it. That's when you learn. But we're going to have really like 2023 animation to really show it. And I think it'll be mind blowing to people. And we can prove that's the way it's walking. It's quite easy to prove it.
I have a question for you, but I got to get our my co-host Debs in here. We'll go in this round robin format where the three of us will get in there. Go ahead, Debs, please.
Yeah, actually, my question was going to be tied into Michael's, but my question is, you have a history of doing work that documents nature in general, and I feel like that there must be a sense of, that Bigfoot's just part of nature. I wondered if that is something that you could speak to a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely. First off, we know very little about, if we think we know little about Bigfoot, we know little about all of our wildlife. And I'm trying to adjust my volume here. There we go. We know very little about deer, wolves, raccoons, skunks, possums, muskrats, beavers. All of this is just normal, common animals. They're not common. None of them are. They all have amazing things they're doing that we don't know about. I've tried to unlock some of those things. For instance, I worked 2 years to put a camera in a beaver lodge. 2 years it took of chiseling, chopping very carefully, because we didn't want to, scare the beavers to move out.
Right.
So we had to be very diligent. We do it in the wintertime. In fact, Matt Moneymaker helped me one time.
Wow.
Chiseling at this beaver dam.
Wow.
And we would go out there in short spurts, but every few weeks to chisel. Finally, we broke through. Put a camera in there, an infrared camera, tiny infrared camera, put it in there in a tube. And I had to do it so they wouldn't try to feel a draft and then seal it up, which was kind of tricky. I didn't want to give away, all the weird crap I did to get that.
Trade craft.
But literally within maybe 10 minutes of walking back to home base, we flip on a monitor and literally all we see are muskrats. I went, what in the world's going on here? Whole family of muskrats. And they're all working on the grass in the beaver lodge. And all of a sudden, a huge beaver comes in. And I look at my research associate, Lynn Rogers, and I go, what is going on here? And he looks at me like, ooh, this is going to be interesting. So we watched and filmed a whole winter of the muskrats grooming the beavers.
Wow.
Taking care of the ground, the beavers working on the ceiling and walls, the total cooperation, never any fighting.
Wow.
And we kind of surmised that the muskrats were grooming the beavers to get all these parasites as a symbiotic relationship to eat the parasites that were found in the beaver's fur. And at one point, we documented 4 mammal species in the beaver lodge, because there's also mice that live there full time in the winter. They're all working together. The mice are doing their thing, the muskrats, the beavers. And this has never been seen. Now, you remember, since the dawn of man, no one had ever seen this in history except me and Lynn. And we were filming it and doing all this every day, gathering more data. Then the female got pregnant. And we're thinking, oh, this is going to get really interesting.
Right.
Are the muskrats going to babysit? Are they?
There you go, Debs.
I mean, and people laugh when I say the word, muskrats and beavers. They always think that's funny. But we were like, no one knows about this, except we did find a native legend that talked about it. But still, it's not science. We're documenting every day, and doing diaries and notes. And just now that is being written into a scientific paper, which will be my second published scientific paper. That'll be published hopefully in the Journal of Animals. The first one was filming the first wild black bears giving birth. and how they take care of their cubs. And I was the first person to film with a tiny camera under a wild mother bear, the Canadian border, to see her naked little cubs just born, just these tiny little. And I used the thing called a cub probe that I invented, and had all these articulating little micro rods on it that we could kind of control the camera. But so the point was, God, we don't know anything about anything.
Right.
This is my bottom line. I'm just a citizen scientist that's just curious about this crap. Right? I'm just curious. I was born in curious. I drove my dad crazy. I drove my mom crazy. So that's what I've done. Oh, no, we filmed the first giant squid ever in history. That was just, whatever, blind luck. I don't know. But we had a plan that we actually executed and did it. First Architeuthis ducks ever filmed in history, confirmed.
What's that? Say that again.
Scientists. Pardon?
Say that again. What's the animal?
Architeuthis ducks is the scientific name for the giant squid. Had never been filmed in its natural habitat. Yeah, dead ones, caught ones on hook and line that were small, but this was a living specimen that was at least 54 feet long. It was the biggest eye ever filmed in history. Yeah. So once again, Smithsonian and all these top scientists didn't have the ideas we did. And the only reason I probably thought of it is because I don't know damn squirt. I don't know anything. So I didn't have all these biases against me. Does that make sense? There were no biases. And I try to approach every topic without a bias. Don't judge. Don't this, don't that. Somebody says to me, Doug, light incense and say a prayer, and maybe that'll work. I'll do it. I don't care.
Maybe it will. Right.
Exactly.
I want to thank Deb for this question because I had no
Great
idea
question,
all that information that you just came out with. The second thing I want to say is, Doug, I would like a link after this. I'll email you for that Beaver Lodge video because I have seen some Beaver Lodge. The one I saw may have been attributed to you. I don't, because it was before I was doing any research or on Bigfoot, but that is absolutely fascinating. And just as you said, you couldn't have said it any better. Is there's we think we know so much about the quote known animal world, so how could we even know about this thing that clearly is so intelligent that has figured out how to avoid us? Not 100% of the time, because they're not, as you said, they're not 100% successful.
Right.
Nothing's perfect. You said that at the beginning of the show. And clearly they're not, because people have had class A's where they saw the creature before the creature saw them. And then the creature saw them and did whatever, it decided to do.
Absolutely. Yep.
So
people
they
have
we just, so much we don't know.
bumped into them in cases where the Bigfoot was not even aware of the person. Yes.
Right.
They
And
have
I've
flaws.
heard a number of those accounts. So that was an amazing question, Deb.
Yeah, it really was. But along with that, they're obviously extremely smart. I could tell you stories all night of ways they've made me feel like the coyote in the Roadrunner cartoon.
Yeah.
Over and over and over again. Like it's just never ends.
Well, look what they do with the Area X. They've been there for 5 years, 6 years, 7. I'm not even sure how many years they've been there, and they're able to avoid them. They both are in the same general location. So
yeah, it's really interesting. Would you guys mind if I just run and grab a water?
Please, yes,
I didn't
sir.
do that. I came off a hard bike ride to get back. Because Tim called me. I'm literally at a crosswalk. Tim's calling me, and all he hears is walk. And I can only imagine what was going through Tim's mind. Anyhow, I'll be right back. Take me 2
Go ahead,
seconds.
brother.
All right.
Go ahead. So I'm going to ask him, guys, and you can open your mics. I'm going to ask him about the AI and if he thinks that if when these trail cams, when they, are able to input AI into their logic and they can move and come on and off, if he thinks that will be successful or that if Bigfoot will sniff that out as well. And feel free to react to that, Matt, Deb.
I'm not reacting to that. Sorry.
Okay.
Well, it's interesting is that given enough time, it seems like some of these other species are starting to pick up what we're doing, right? And I think Bigfoot maybe did so faster because they're probably closer to us than we think, right?
Mhm.
But like I just heard about gorillas taking apart traps. that had been put out and learning to do that. So yeah, they might be able to figure some of these things out.
We have heard Bigfoot doing that as well, by the way.
Right. Well, I think they probably figured out a lot of things a lot faster, and it looks like they study us too.
Oh
Um,
yeah, there's no question.
I am back.
Doug, so here's my question, which won't be as good as Deb's, but there are a couple guys. This started a few years ago, and I think the company has rolled over. But basically, what they've done is they've pointed the cameras at the sky,
Yeah.
and their AI basically is scanning the sky,
Yeah.
and anything it sees that it can apply logic to.
Yep.
That is an insect. That's a bird.
Yep,
That's a
yep,
737. And then it just doesn't count that in the data. And then if it sees something it doesn't know, it puts a data marker there, something anomalous moving in a way that it doesn't understand. Do you think if we apply that to these trail cams, that sort of AI, do you think that could bridge a certain gap, or do you think that Bigfoot will sniff that out as well, like they do the other?
Well, I
IR
don't think they'd be
sources
aware
and
of AI. All of our cameras are AI, and we're doing that right now.
Oh, really? Okay.
Oh, God, yes.
Wow.
In
Okay.
fact, it was funny too, because if I don't use AI, we just get flooded because every bug will set off a clip,
Uh-huh.
and then we have collected about 200,000 clips now.
Mm-hmm.
We still have to go through every one of them by hand. We have to. Because
So it discriminates against something that it knows.
it's
that-
right now, yeah, we have it set for people, which is,
Okay.
a hominid or whatever these things are, upright. But we may miss something. We just always have some cameras continuously recording. But
Mhm.
I can guarantee you every single clip of footage will be gone through with a fine-tooth comb. For instance, I was going through footage the other night, and lo and behold, we filmed a huge fireball. Just beautiful. Really
Wow.
amazing footage. But you're not going to see stuff like that unless you go through every clip.
What was the fireball? What did you attribute that to?
Well, I would imagine it was some kind of bullite, or it was just a meter, but it was a big fireball. I mean, it was significant, and we recorded the explosion. They made a sonic boom.
Oh, really?
Oh yeah.
Wow. Cool.
Yep. Yep.
This is amazing. See, I didn't even know that. So it's set for people, and then after you review all this data, you'll be able to figure out if there's
Sure.
some fissure between what it would see as a person and what a Bigfoot, what characteristics.
Right. I can
Right.
maybe pull up an example here. I'd have to probably just hold it in front of the camera. Let me pick a day here and give you an example and kind of something that'll. Okay, here's some. When Adam had company, and I will play this. Let me turn the volume down. But you can see the boxes grabbing the people. So let me rewind it. Maybe it'll show up. Let me get it big and see if we can. Yeah, there we go. It's got some glare. Okay, do you see that green box?
Yes.
It grabs it. I know it's just kind of weird here.
Yep. It's in the center of the
Yep.
people.
Yep.
Yep. I see it.
But it grabs the box. That's what's interesting. So, and that's everything is surrounded by a green box that we record. But once again, we have we have 20, 27 cameras.
Yep.
On site. I think the most we've had running at once is 22. But they're
Awesome.
all over. They're in the woods. They're in camp. We're trying to cover our butts.
I can't wait. That's Legend meets Science 2.
Yes.
Doug was able to hit his goal in terms of the Kickstarter. So that project is off and running, and can't wait to see that.
And I was going to
because-
mention, if I can,
Sure. Please.
yes, we did hit goal, but we'll churn through this budget so quick. So if people still want to be in the credits, like Matt with his icon, they can go to Hangar One Publishing. They can still pre-order the doc and get their name in the credits.
Okay.
And it would help support us tremendously. We need the money before we do it. We don't even care about the money after we do it. We just we hope all the money is just spent towards research and forensic science and really cool animation and things that will really raise the bar, because we're going to bring forth 24 new categories of evidence.
Yeah, and
None of these
Jules, if you
new
could grab that link so we could throw it up there.
Yeah, it's
It's a
and it's just
Kickstarter.
Hanger 1 with a numeral 1, Hanger 1 with it's HANGAR 1 publishing. And there's it'll say Legend Meets Science support, and they can just pre-order the doc. So
Okay.
that would help.
All right. Yeah, we will. I see it there, and we'll get that link
Oh,
up there
thank
for
you.
you.
That's so
Yes, sir.
appreciated.
The pleasure is.
All I can do is guarantee people we will spend the money on science, like we're doing with this huge camera project. Adam's doing this for free. We're not like wasting money,
Yeah,
originally we're paying Adam hundreds of dollars a day to do this. No, he's not making a penny.
He is. Yeah, we're already impressed with him. Matt, your second question for Mr. Hajicek, sir.
Yeah. So I had the pleasure a while back of talking to a witness on my podcast from Colorado, where some hairs were discovered in the general area of where he saw the creature, and he has informed me that those hairs are in your possession and that you have looked at them.
I do get a lot of hairs, and right now we're in the process. In fact, I just sent the labels to Darby Orcutt. They're one of the labs, or his group of labs that will be testing. But we've got other labs, but we're labeling everything very carefully with the provider. The fact they came from me, but they're provided by whoever collected them, so they get credit, an evidence number tag. So everything is being carefully organized and then photographed and then micro-picked. And I'm vetting everything so they don't get bear hair and they don't waste their efforts on, common hair. I'm pretty good at vetting hair, and if I'm in doubt, they're going to get it. But if I have, if I know for sure what a hair is, I'm not gonna waste their efforts.
What are the markers you're looking for, Doug, in terms of those hair samples?
Okay, the correct tapered, worn end, naturally worn, not cut. It's never been cut. Okay. Human style length, meaning I'm not really into hairs that are just little nubs.
Yes.
Generally, those belong to rabbits, cats, raccoons, things like that. Humans' hair grows quite quick. Bigfoot's hair has been known to be very long. They have very long hair off their arms. And so I'm looking for a certain length range. Then I look at the scaling. So it has to have human scaling. So how could a human never have its hair cut, right? And have so much dirt in it that there's kind of like organic material almost embedded into it, and then no medulla or very little medulla, a very light grainy texture, and wispy. Bigfoots have wispy hair. They do not have
thick hair.
They do not have thick hair. They have wispy hair. They have a dense wispy hair. It's very dense.
So not like a horse's tail type thing.
More hairs per square inch. Does that make sense? And it's not fur, it's hair.
Right.
It's very similar to a baby's hair, even from a black Bigfoot.
It's similar to a baby's hair?
Correct.
Meaning what?
Let's say a 6-month-old baby, 8-month-old, under a year. Finer, wispier. When you get older, your hair gets coarser and coarser.
Right. Okay.
Yeah. Babies have a very fine, wispy, very flexible, which is why it's soft. The reason babies have soft hair is so the mothers will take better care of them. Babies are cuddly and smell good, and they're soft because that encourages mothers to take care of their babies. So
you are so damn smart. Can't believe we both talk about Bigfoot because you're so much smarter. Debs, go ahead with your second question.
Oh my God, I am not smart.
I just wanted to point out I changed my subtitle to Bigfoot Babysitter for today.
There you go.
So, Doug, if you do know a Bigfoot that is in need, like you know that there's a couple, and they want to go out for a night, Deb really wants to babysit.
Well, here you go, Deb. I'll tell you what. Okay. We'll let you name our baby Bigfoot robot.
Okay, I
that will be
appreciate that.
used. We're doing bait cam because we got to try it. It's been very successful with every animal. So we're going to try a really sophisticated robot that's got camera eyes, and it'll all be articulating, and we'll let you name it.
I already
I
have the
love it.
name. I already have the name. I was a big fan of Harry and the Hendersons,
Okay.
so it's got to be Harry.
Harry. Okay, fine. Is it Harry Jr. or Baby Harry?
Let's go
Just
with Baby
Certainly
Harry.
not Dirty Harry. That's already taken.
Not
We don't want to
Dirty
get
Harry,
Doug sued. So
Okay.
Um,
All right.
so
So its
yeah.
name. I'll tell you. I'll give you to the end of the show to make up your mind.
He doesn't
don't
like
like
your name,
that.
Deb.
Oh yeah, it's okay. No, it's okay.
If you
Maybe
could carry it,
Henderson?
Doug, no one knew you were going to be hilarious, man. Like Tim did not tell us how funny you were. So this
Oh,
is
I
just
didn't know I was funny. It's the first I've
Yes.
ever heard.
yes, incredibly witty. Deb, did you have something though that you wanted to ask him?
Yes, I did. So one thing that fascinates me is how humanity responds to revelations. When the gorillas were discovered by people who weren't indigenous to the area, who,
Right.
by the way, were saying yes, we have gorillas. When citizen science or cottoned on to it and exposed it to the world, people tried to exploit that
Yeah.
for some time, and the same thing happened with, of course, giant squid. I'm sure you realize. So, what are your thoughts about what the revelation might be like if you were successful with filming Bigfoot for your project?
Well, I'm just hoping it would just raise the bar a little bit, Deb. That's it. It's my hope. I think it'll be viewed as credible because of the great effort we've done. We're following a lot of protocols. I think immediately it'll go to the people. It'll go to academics. It isn't going on YouTube right away. It's going to just go to all these academics, and we'll just say, here, just release it. And I just think it'll raise the bar because you cannot fake real. You can't fake real. You just can't. I don't give a crap. I've never seen a fake footage that looked real to me
Right.
because it's not real.
Right.
You cannot fake a man and you can say, well, you watch a bear animation in a movie because they don't want to really have the actor injured. You know it's fake.
Right. Right.
It's just, you can't fake real. Yeah, I think we're 20, 30 years before we'll get to that point. Even with AI, I think we're 20, 30 years before we're just so good you could fake real. There's too many nuances.
And that's the thing about the Patterson film. It's just it's so ridiculous that it's so real and just so could not have been faked that it's just absurd. What I was going to ask you, Doug, with all that you know and all that you've said that collectively we don't know about Bigfoot,
right?
And if you were to be blessed enough to have a Class A encounter with an interpreter, what would you ask the creature if you knew that the interpreter could convey your question to it?
That's a really good. It's such a good question. I have no idea how to answer that one. That's a good question, though. I would just, if I was there, I would just say kind things.
Mm-hmm.
All I could do.
What would you want it to know about you and your thoughts about it? What would you want
I would just
convey
probably,
to it?
Talk about my journey of great respect, of trying to fool you, and how you have fooled me every day. And I would just, give them kudos, and that's what I would convey. But it would be great respect. It would be a great cat and mouse game, and you won for 35 years. And I probably figured you did what you did on purpose.
No question. Yeah, Matt and I were talking. I was riding my bike home from the gym, speaking with Matt, and we were talking about that there's no other animal that has that strategic and tactical thought process that they have to achieve their goal, and it just their intelligence, and that's why it's funny when people just say, oh, they're apes and gorillas, and that I could understand why. I mean, they're part of that family, and we're part of that family to a degree, but they're so intelligent that wouldn't be the thing I'd be saying first. The thing I'd be saying first is, My God, they're smart to be able to do what they do.
You know, I could tell you a quick. I can tell you just like one
Please
quick
do.
story. I got
You
hundreds
could
of
tell
them.
as many as
But
you
this
want,
is
yeah.
one that happened to me. It's just one of the zillions of things I've tried. I could write a book on all the things I've tried to do. So I thought, okay, I'm going to I was up at Snell Grove, if anybody knows where the Snell Grove cabin is. We did a show called Sasquatch Attacks because the cabin was attacked. I
Wow.
went up there with Meldrum. I went up there with a geneticist, and the cabin, of course, got attacked. Just like I told them it happened to me when I was up there. And I would imagine they were skeptical, but they witnessed it. I mean, it was nuts. And this is what there's no roads. You get dropped out by a float plane. If you're all in the cabin and something's out there banging on the walls and throwing stuff at the roof, and
You're on your own.
well, you know it's not a human.
Right.
I've
Yeah,
been going.
you're far
I've been going to this cabin for 35 years. Never once ran into a human. Not once. I mean, when you're up there, and I've even gone up there alone, you are truly alone. But I don't even know what the hell was I going with this.
So we were talking about their intelligence,
Oh,
and you went up there with Meldrum and some others.
Yeah, but I was going to tell you of a thing I did one time. So another time I went up there with my son and some other people. Then I thought, well, I'm going to do a completely analog trap. No cameras, but I'm just going to do an analog trap to know they're there. So I set up a stainless steel bowl as an offering, filled it with the most delicious stuff you could ever comprehend. Fresh fruit, fresh cooked bacon, fresh raw bacon,
Wow.
grilled this, grilled that, ungrilled. I mean, everything, eggs, raw eggs, cooked eggs. I mean, but organized it in this beautiful big platter. Put it out for them. And of course, here's where I get dumb but sneaky. I managed to figure out a way to hook a 2-pound monofilament line to the bowl. Run this analog string through the thing, through my window. And then I built it would take quite a bit of movement on the bowl to get this mechanical trap to go off, let's say. Doesn't get touched. 2 days later, Joe and my son were out by the fire. All of a sudden, a big tree goes down. They run. And they get inside the cabin. And all of a sudden, and we're all talking about these trees. All of a sudden, my trap goes off. It's obviously scared them in the cabin, knowing they would run into the cabin. Joe actually fell and hurt his back. They ran into the cabin and then tested my trap, but didn't touch anything on it. They just moved the thing 2 feet, the bowl.
Wow.
Never touched it again, never took any food from it. It was never touched again after 3 more days, not by even a mouse. Weird.
What do you attribute that to?
I have no idea. I think about that probably every damn day. Why didn't any other animal touch that food? And why did the creature not recognize it was a gift? It was a gift. All I wanted to know is when he was taking the gift. I don't think I was even going to do anything. I just wanted to know when he was there, or it was there, or they were there, or whatever. Because I've been in that cabin when they're attacking it, and it's kind of like they're almost fighting with each other as much as they're taking some aggression out on the cabin. They're also taking aggression out on each other. It's quite interesting.
What? You've been in the cabin when they're attacking it?
Numerous times.
Okay.
Yeah, numerous
Bro, it was on TV.
Yeah.
What do you mean? How would I know?
This is like a famous event that happened.
Oh,
Okay, I didn't know
It's
this.
amazing. Like with the cameras and everything rolling, like rocks pelting the roof, and it's all.
Yeah, I mean, it was one
amazing.
of the. Yeah, my son, during this whole thing, he went into physical shock. He was and he went into. I mean, literally, I was worried I had to figure out something. We didn't have you can't even call the float plane base.
Right.
You're out there alone. and the plate glass on the windows is like 1/8 thick, and it's just really breakable. But here's where it started. Matt knows this story. I probably heard it a million times. I'll tell it real quick. I went up there. I've been going up there for many years. Is my getaway, right? Because I used to film an outdoor show, just an outdoor show. It was kind of an outdoor magazine show, and we'd do this was luxury in the wilderness because they had solar panels. You could take a hot water on demand. Water came out of the lake, but you could take a hot shower. Yeah, there was an outhouse, but there was a sink and a bathroom, so you could, shave or whatever. It was luxury in the middle of nowhere. I mean, we're talking 500 miles from the nearest road.
That is awesome.
You get dropped off, and so I thought, oh my God, I'm going to live here. I'm coming back. And so there was one summer I went up there like 5 times, just because I could, and I just kept going. And the lodge owner printed me a frequent flyer jacket. Never had any Bigfoots, never had any activity, never even thought about it. It's such a vast wilderness. How would they ever even find me?
Mm-hmm.
When you fly over this country for hours and you don't see a thing, and then there's the cabin, well, how would they ever even? So you just feel like safe. Mm-hmm. So I would even sleep out on the dock on hot nights. I'd pull the cushion out and sleep outside alone, just sleep out there. Because it was cooler than being in that hot cabin.
Sure.
It's made out of tin, okay, DJ?
Oh, okay, yeah. So it's not like logs.
No,
okay.
It's tin.
Okay.
So it gets hot in there, and it's bad. But anyhow, so I'm doing up there for years and years. But one day I'm reading there's a diary. It's all kind of nasty and wrinkly, and I'm like, I just it's this people from I saw a gull today. Oh, we caught 20 fish today. Oh, it's such a beautiful lake. Or it's kind of just their little nature. I don't really want to read it's personal notes. I don't want to read it. But one day I did. I was really bored. I'd read every 1970s Field and Stream. So I thought, okay, now I got to read it was raining. I read the diary. Footprint found 16-inch on the portage to this lake. Because Chuck had left an extra boat and motor on this lake, but you got to go a long ways. Then you got a portage. You got to walk, through this island and all this crap to get there. They found this huge footprint, and they described it as 16 triple E. So I thought, well, that's interesting. Oh, interesting. But just kind of put it on the back of my head. Literally years and years later, we always brought friends, always men. Men. It's always men. 6 men. I always get together 6 men. So one day I thought, God, that's not fair. I brought my sons up here. I'm going to bring my daughter, Dakota. She's old enough, and her mom was willing to let her go. I was worried. So I also called my other buddy. Say, hey, do you want to bring Maria? But they were Dakota and her were friends. Another friend of mine, Vladimir. I said, hey, you want to bring Ina? So anyhow, we all brought our daughters up. That started the whole Bigfoot thing up there.
Really?
Which makes sense, which is why tonight's operation, kids. We're going to do kids recordings tonight, laughing and playing. That's exactly, these were young. I mean, my daughter, Dakota, I don't know. She was maybe 5.
Oh, really young?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah,
dangerous
really
as hell. I mean, this is a dangerous thing to do. I don't recommend anybody do this. Go on one of these remote subarctic trips. It's like, if something happened, you're not calling any. There's not, excuse me, there's not even radio waves up there. There's nothing. You can put on an AM radio. There's just nothing. Static. Everything's static up there. There's nothing. Okay. So I'm with Dakota. And I guided everybody into this lake I called Hidden Lake because you cannot find it. You cannot see it. It's hidden by a little narrow, tiny stream behind a bog. And then you go in and then you got to kind of pull and push your boat across all these rocks for 1.5 miles.
Really?
It's not real fun. Okay. So I get everybody in there, and it's the creepiest lake you've ever been to. You feel like, how is it described? Joe described it as you feel like you're the zoo animal and there's people watching you.
Wow.
You really do feel it. You feel watched. Like if Bigfoots live up there, that's where they live. It's on that lake. So one day we were coming out of the lake and my daughter was making monkey sounds. And I said, why are you doing monkey sounds, hon? She goes, well, it helps me catch fish. And she was catching a lot of walleyes, right?
Mhm.
So, okay, whatever. It's like, yeah, that's cool. So she's doing monkey sounds and she was doing it while I'm trying to get us out into the main lake. And the water's shallow and there's, and we get right to where it comes behind that bog and empties out into the main lake. And there is a wood knock right by the boat, literally 10 feet from the boat. Oh yeah. And it's the kind that echoes across the lake. It's like, oh crap.
What's
I
that,
literally
Daddy?
turned white. And I looked at Joe and I go, oh, I know what we're going to do tonight. So we waited till 2 a.m. And I told Vladimir, big strong guy, I said, okay, showed him what he wood knocked, perfect stick, perfect tree, and it hollow, it echoes. Oh yeah, another 10 foot away wood knock right by our fire. It's standing right like within like grabbing distance from us. And it answered just like that.
Watching you guys have your campfire.
Yep.
Oh,
Because
my
we're
God.
sitting with Joe's youngest daughter.
Mhm.
Ina and Dakota are sleeping in the cabin. So there's curiosity about these kids, right?
Sure.
Which is kind of creepy, actually, too. It's a little creepy because you would worry about maybe one being grabbed, right?
Sure. Absolutely.
So I just think it's a little creepy, but maybe not. Maybe it's good intention. Could be a female. It's just like, whoa, this is cool. Because I'm sure they've seen people at that cabin, but never children. These are wilderness Sasquatches, okay? These aren't the ones that are at the state park. And I believe there's those too, and I really do, that live on the edges.
Sure.
This is not an edge. I'll tell you this, Matt and Deb and DJ, there is one seagull on that lake. That's just it. One seagull, and that's his territory. And that's it. I saw a moose once. I saw a caribou one time, and that's it in 30 years. It's not a lot of wildlife up there. And one black bear that came up, and I literally sat next to the black bear, and he was my bud. I even put cookies in my buddy's suitcase so he'd take my buddy's suitcase, and he cooperated and did.
Really?
Dragged my buddy's suitcase out into the woods as a joke. And the guy got what was left of his suitcase, and he got home and he realized someone had put Chips Ahoy in his crumpled up in his. That was me. So yeah, I guess
Keep that in mind. Anybody who's going camping with Doug, that some of these hijinks may unfold during your trip.
So anyhow, but that's it for wildlife. Over 30 years, that's not much, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that includes all the birds, ducks. There's nothing. It's just a void. It's just
that's really weird.
People do not understand that when you're not on the edges,
right?
There's no wildlife. Tonight we went for a short bike ride. Right, I got called to come home from our good friend Tim, and we're just seeing turkeys, deer, fox. I mean, this is on a short bike ride because we live in the suburbs. We live in the edges.
Right.
And that's where all the wildlife is. It's not in the wilderness. So people who think it is, yeah, maybe collectively, if you take a 500 square mile area and concentrate it, yeah, it might look like a lot of wildlife, but that's not much. I mean, they've got room to roam. So my point is, I think these were wilderness Bigfoots. They've probably been spying on fishermen. And I think every cycle, you have to throw your food garbage out behind the cabin. The extra 5 heads of lettuce you brought that everybody thought they'd eat didn't. All those extra steaks that didn't get eaten. All the eggs that you got to put, all that's to no paper, but just the food.
An offering.
Got to go back 100 yards behind the cabin. So I'm thinking, maybe they got this little pattern down and they just kind of come around towards the end of the trip, to see what goodies. But when we brought the kids, that was more than they could bear at that point. So that night, we did a rock exchange. Maria I had Maria do it because she's this kid. She would lob rocks, it would lob one back. She'd lob a rock, they'd lob one. She'd lob one.
Really?
This went on for maybe an hour.
And there's nothing. I mean, there's no animal that could do that. So
No,
it's
of
got to
course
be.
not.
Yeah. Right.
It's
so-
either a person hiding in the forest, 30 feet from us, or it's a Bigfoot standing back there. And at that point, I didn't have any fear. I really didn't. But then I made the mistake. I said, Maria, this is like now 3 whatever in the morning, or Joe, can somebody whistle? And I told everybody the natives say you should never whistle.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I better keep that in mind. Cause...
Yeah. And I told Maria to whistle.
Mhm.
So Maria did a nice whistle. Nothing happened. It's fine. Everything's good. Everybody's like, oh, okay, I'm tired. And we're all, kind of pumped. I have more adrenaline in me. Everybody else is kind of like in shock. They're very skeptical, and suddenly they weren't. They're like, yeah, there's nothing else. Could have done this. So they go to bed. I stay up and I'm reading a magazine, one of these 30-year-old magazines that are up there.
Mhm.
And I'm reading by candlelight, just a little tea light. And I'm getting tired. I was like, I want to go brush my teeth with the lake water. So I brushed my teeth with the lake water, and I flicked a solar-powered light above me.
Uh-huh.
Lit me up like daylight. And I got a hat on, but I got very white hair.
Mm-hmm.
And that's when all hell broke loose. That was that. I mean, that was screaming, banging, lifting, throwing stuff on the roof. Something was running on the roof.
Really?
That was all fine. I was good with that. I shut the skylight because I'm like, oh my God, something's going to come in the skylight.
Right.
I pictured a little Bigfoot or something dropping down, or a big one dropping through the skylight. And I shut the skylight in a panic. And I'm sitting there like, I'm just like, this is really amazing. This is, oh my God. But I'm not really freaked out.
Mm-hmm.
But they're arguing out there. I can hear them arguing amongst themselves, like chimps going at it.
So
And
you hear a language? Did you hear like
sort of, yeah. It's
Yeah.
just weird.
Uh-huh.
And then I'm kind of in my mind. I can hear these things in one corner, another one on another corner, like they're arguing. I hear them running on the roof, and I'm thinking, "Oh my God, I bet you their kids on the roof." And they're yelling at the kid. I'm just telling you what I'm sensing. And and then all of a sudden, rocks start hitting the top of the roof, like maybe they're trying to get their kid down, who's basically going "F you." And then they start. One corner of the cabin starts getting jolted and lifted, and then the other one, and I look at the floorboards, I can see them flexing. The wood floor is flexing.
Oh my!
And the cabin is getting rocked, and the storm of crap and brush and logs and everything's hitting the cabin, and then it ended as quick as it started. I tried to wake Vladimir up, couldn't wake him up. This could be paranormal. I don't know. I went pound. I beat on Vlad. I beat on Joe. It's like after the cabin started getting rocked, that's when I started getting really scared.
Yes.
And I started hitting Joe as hard. I was worried I was hurting him. Just turned over and just grunted at me. And then it quit. It quit. Needless to say, I went back to reading my damn magazine again. Because I'm not going to bed. Are you nuts?
How
I'm
could
on
you?
guard all night now at this point. I'm not going to go to bed. I don't know when I finally did lay down, but I think I waited for the sun to start coming up.
Yeah.
Well, then I thought, then it gets weirder. Then the float plane guy comes to pick us up like 2 days later, and I'm telling him what happened.
Mm-hmm.
And he goes, this is a float plane pilot. And he's going, yeah, I believe you. I'm going, well, why do you believe me? He said, well, the whole cabin, the inside of the cabin got trashed in a really weird way. And they came up kind of late summer, early fall, and the pipes in the bathroom were bent. All the shelves were torn away from the wall, no claw marks. The 50 decks of playing cards, because, when I bring a deck of playing cards up there, I don't bring them home because it's extra weight for the plane. You leave them
right.
there. It's just kind of fun to see how many decks of cards can accumulate. something ripped every deck of card up into little circles. There were probably, I'm not even exaggerating, 25, 30, 40, 50 decks up there.
That's really weird.
And there was more. Flip the wood stove over upside down, flip the refrigerator. If it would have been a bear, they would have torn the insulation out because they think it smells like formic acid. They think it's an ant colony. No damage inside. Bent the pipes, flipped over a 1,200-pound gas tank in the shed, flipped it up completely just the opposite direction.
Wow.
Broke every piece of plastic in the cabin into little tiny pieces. This whole, I can go on and on. This would have taken forever to do. No windows broken. Windows are fine. And when they get there, the door's closed. And no windows. If it was human vandalism, they would have broke the windows. That's the first thing people do.
Sure.
They want to throw a rock at the window.
Sure.
And there's rocks everywhere around there. So they would have thrown a rock at the windows, broke them, went in, spray paint, God knows what. People can be really dogs. But this was not human vandalism. And it wasn't bear because there was not one scratch in that cabin. None. It did so much damage to the interior of the cabin, he recorded a videotape for the insurance company. Right?
Wow.
So that's when I went, really? And I go, you don't have that tape, do you still? He goes, yeah, I got it. And I'm thinking, oh my God, I got to see this tape. So I'm going to show it to a bear expert too, just to confirm there's no way this is bear damage. You remember, I'd been going to that cabin almost 30 years. I knew every knot on the wall. There was no scratches. No, there was nothing. Everything looked perfect because he just put the shelves back up and they fixed the pipes and they did all this stuff. So it gets a little weirder because then I said to him, why do you have that big screw board in the back? I flipped it over because I was worried about our daughters getting hurt on that because it was like aimed outwards by the outhouse. Oh, that's our nail board, our screw board we used after we had this happen. We left this deterrent in front of both doors, a welcome mat, he called them. And he said, the weird thing is something stepped on the welcome mat. And I said, what? He said, yeah, come with me. I go, look, you can clearly see fat tissue, meat on the screws, and you can clearly see blood on the back side of it. He wasn't joking. So then when I got home quick, basically got Meldrum, dudes, we got to get up here. I laid that board in the shed so it was protected. Got Meldrum, Kurt Nelson up there, and a bunch of other people that, we needed. And we did surveillance cameras, and we did a lot of stuff. And of course, the cabin got attacked up then too. So.
And the cabin got attacked that night.
Well, I don't know if it wasn't that night, but it was during the trip. Because it was raining the first 3 days. And I had the first rock thrown at me when I went outside because it had just stopped raining. I went outside and a rock ricocheted off the shed and rolled to my feet gently, just with precision, like a pool player. And I remember going, and nobody believed me, of course. I went in the cabin and Meldrum's in there and they're all just talking. I said, they are here. I don't think, it's like nobody believed me. But then it got nice. Everybody decided to start coming out. And that's when rocks were thrown. There was all sorts of stuff. And then that night, the cabin got attacked. Then we had a big rock thrown. And so that's kind of how it went. But that's probably enough of that.
Unbelievable, man. It is really, they're so good at being able to let you know how they feel, let you know when they want to be there. Yeah. Obviously, if that thing wanted to hit you in the head with a rock, it would have.
Absolutely. The speed that they throw these rocks is like, whoa.
Yeah, like fastball pitcher type stuff.
Yep.
Yeah. I still don't know how sometimes when people will say it'll come through the trees and it'll land, on the trail right in front of them. They'll hear it, touching branches. It's amazing, and Matt has said too, man, like the people that have thought that they were being stalked. I was like, man, they'll pick up a log and they'll hit you with that, and you won't even, you just won't get up again.
Yeah.
If they wanted to do that to you.
Yeah. So
this
it's
is real.
Yeah,
I'm
it's
sorry,
real
go ahead.
interesting. So we're going back up.
Are you?
Yeah, I haven't been up there in 8 years. I'm going back up.
I
And I didn't go for then I wanted to go, but then COVID hit. So I couldn't go.
Yeah.
And there was just like the relationship between the Canadians and the U.S. kind of wasn't so great. And I thought, I'll just avoid it. I think everything's cooled back to normal again and getting back to tourism. So anyhow, and I'm just hoping I can make it across the border. Because they know I filmed that show up there. And then we did another one.
Mm-hmm.
And basically, I think they got my number.
Be like, oh, that's a different Hajicek. It's not me.
That's Jeff Harding.
Name.
That
Yeah,
guy,
exactly. It's
Jeff.
Jeff Harding. Absolutely. This is when you bring Jeff out. But anyway, we got to say our any final thoughts from let's start with Debs, and then we'll go to Matt, and we can go with Cabby goodbyes if you don't have anything left.
Yeah, this is really important. So I asked ChatGPT about the names for the little Bigfoot. And these are the names that my favorite is Littlefoot.
Okay.
But I actually thought of that before ChatGPT told me that, but they came up with Tiny Timber, Cubfoot, and some names I won't repeat because they're so bad. But but I like Littlefoot or Petite Feet.
Petite Pete's pretty good.
Petite Feet.
Yeah,
Yes.
I mean it's gonna look like a newborn Bigfoot, sort of.
Yeah, we certainly have to decide if the female's going to be if it's going to be a female robot or male. So we got to get that.
Deb, I'll tell you what, you can take all the time you need. We're not going to deploy till September. I'm reserving the right. You get to name it. Take your time.
I think Petite Feet.
Okay, that's your final decision.
Thank you, Doug.
I know you're gonna retract it later, Deb. You're gonna go.
No, I like Petite Feet. I think it's a fun name.
This is the one day I don't have a pen. Like, I'm in my studio.
I will email that to you as well, Mr. Hajicek. So fear not.
You send it to me, Petite Pete. I'll forget.
And Matt, what's your final parting shot, my friend, and your Cabby goodbye?
Yeah.
There's that pregnant pause, DJ.
Yeah, I mean, we're gonna have to go for another 2 hours.
Oh yeah, no doubt.
I've got so much to talk about. I'm not even gonna bring up my conversation points, but I've enjoyed it immensely. You'll be hearing from me.
Let's do this again
very soon, for sure.
100%.
You guys are great.
You got here late, anyways. We got to make up that lost time.
Okay, so that won't happen again. But you got to send this old guy reminders.
Yes, sir. I will.
I had you in my calendar, and I didn't. Normally, I'd like people would send me a message on, "Don't forget about the podcast tonight."
I sent you one, but you didn't get it. You didn't check it, but it's okay. It's not.
We got to double check on something. Yeah. So.
Yeah.
Well, call me if you guys want to just visit. Let's do that.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
I will message you for your number.
Yep.
And because there's lots of things to discuss. We're definitely going to do a part 2.
Perfect.
More cabbies will be here, and you are just an absolute joy to have on. You're just so much fun, and like Matt said, I have plenty of Bigfoot questions to get to because it's a fascinating topic. They'll never end, and we're quite committed to be covering UAPs and Bigfoot and paranormal.
Well, I got some good UFO stories too, so plenty of.
Oh, well, that'll be we haven't even gone there yet,
No. So here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna practice my pregnant pauses.
Yeah, that's very important. That's very important.
I'll let you know, DJ, when I've got it perfected.
Pregnant paranormal pauses.
Just watch a lot of William Shatner.
Paranormal. Yeah. Actually, we all grew up on those damn pauses.
Hell yeah, man! I'm a Star Trek kid.
Oh my God! Yeah, I grew up. I really grew up on that. You guys, I don't even think you guys were even born. Come on.
I'm a '67 model, so
yeah, right.
I am. I promise you, man.
No
March
way.
18th
I'm
of
not buying
67,
it.
So
B-
Star Trek was my favorite show. So
B&B. No, that's not possible. You were not born in 67.
I was. I promise you.
I would
man.
have guessed maybe 77. Maybe.
I greatly appreciate that. I wish I
Oh,
could claim
okay.
that, but
Yeah.
I'm getting
Doug,
ready to.
this guy, don't let DJ fool you, okay? He does like long distance ocean swimming for fun.
Okay.
Yeah. Thank you. I'm going home to see my class of 85 classmates.
Me and Matt are gonna go do olive oil facials tonight. So.
Yeah. We got some catching up to do. I've
Yeah.
got him in the hair department though.
Oh my God.
I'll
Doug's hair
look
is
really
epic,
good
man.
next time. I'll look really-
Doug's hair is epic. I've seen it, and it is a
I'm
source of jealousy.
I'm gonna tape my eyes back.
All right, so
So I'm gonna get some gaff tape and tape it back.
the pregnant pauses, the hairdo, and the gaff tape.
We'll have
All
it.
right,
We'll
so-
have the look, man. It'll
I
look great.
have to suggest maybe you can trade one of those hats for Matt for some of the DJ skincare.
Oh, I could send Doug some of my DJ organic skincare formula. I'll send you.
You might want to have it
something I
tested
made.
first.
Say, Matt.
Yeah, I'm here.
I will give you. I'm committing right now. I will give you one Monster Quest hat.
No way.
I will. I swear to God, there's 2 in the world. I will give you one. I'm going to keep one for me as a memento of the TV series, and I'm going to give one to you. But you can't sell it.
I will not. Absolutely
Oh,
not.
That's not Matt. Yeah.
I'm trying not to fanboy. I was a huge
No,
fan
no,
of
I'm
Monster Quest. I wish, oh God, Monster Quest coming back would be amazing.
So you have to send me your address, DJ. Send me Matt's address.
For sure.
Yes,
I'll
sir.
sign it underneath just for kicks, because I'm sure I'll be dead God knows when soon. Up at Snow Grove. And then you can sell the hat. Sell it
Oh
for,
no,
sell
I'll
it
just
for
bug the
$100.
crap out of you on Facebook, man. Yeah, I won't let you forget.
No, I know you won't. No.
I've got it documented.
I got those eyes just staring at me from that
Yeah.
icon. Yeah. So,
Yeah, that's a topic we didn't even get to, but we will get to that next time. Is the eyes, because that's another thing I want to ask you about.
Oh yeah, it's funny. Second time today, and I got a whole spiel about that because I got some kind of mind blowing information about that.
Yeah, then I don't think you could leave on that note, so please go ahead and
No.
spill the
Oh,
beans.
you want me to go?
Deb,
okay.
Matt, if you guys are okay, I mean, we
So-
got to get that in there.
So I read a study. Okay, because there's people that swear to God, and I've talked to numerous witnesses. No, this was not reflection. There was no moon. There was no flashlights. There were no stars out. It was cloudy. I got up and blah, blah, blah. I had to go potty. There's a Bigfoot standing there, and it's got beams coming out of its eyes. And I questioned them, and I've heard this numerous times from witnesses. Are you sure you saw beams? You saw eye glow, not shine. Yeah, no, there's no way. I know the difference, and they get insulted, when I question them so much. But here's where it gets interesting. I got a chill when I found this. Humans, so I'm going to leave you all with this. Humans are the only creature that still have leftover protein cells in their eyes that emit light.
We do?
Yes. But did you hear me? They're leftover.
Leftover.
Yes. Does that
We evolved
mean
away from it.
correct? Is that
Got it.
possible? Why else would we have these few protein cells that emit light?
So let me put this out there.
Yeah.
So a long time ago, a young researcher named Matt contacted the leading expert in mammalian eyesight, specializing in primate eyesight, and asked them just randomly in an email, hey, let's just pretend Bigfoot's real.
Yeah.
And let's pretend it's a primate, tell me about this eye shine thing, being able to see the infrared spectrum, blah, blah, blah.
Whatever.
And he was like, yeah, there's no way.
Yeah, right.
If something could see in the infrared spectrum, they'd be blinded by sunlight every time
Yep,
they open their
I
eyes.
agree.
Yeah,
See, I don't believe Bigfoots can see in infrared.
Neither do I. Neither do I.
I believe they can see UV, which
Right.
a lot of mammals they're discovering do
Oh,
see
Doug.
UV.
Oh, Doug,
Which
we
is-
have so many conversations to
which
have,
is-
sir.
Here's where it's cool. All that is a filter they don't have. So they're doing this surgery on people right now. You can go and have surgery done to remove your UV filter, and then you can have UV vision.
Wow.
Caribou, bears,
Yeah.
animals, especially that were probably came over from the land bridge, have UV vision. Isn't that a coincidence?
Wow.
Isn't it a coincidence that humans are the animal they've ever found that have these little cells that actually produce light, not reflection, make light. And they've seen it, studied, and photographed it.
Well, it jibes with people. Like, we saw a video the other day of a guy in Alabama, and you see the trees, the eyes, and then they go behind a tree, and then they come out.
Yeah,
it's
well,
like, how
we've
does that
actually,
happen?
man, I hate to give away our show, but we recorded some of that on twice over 2 nights. Same height on both nights, but different spots, and found 2 footprints below one of the eye shine spots. Not real amazing, like toes and everything. You can see the heels, which is really cool. But where it gets really cool is the fact that why did we have cells that produce light? Nature generally doesn't do crap that's wasted. Yeah, we've lost our tail, right?
Mm-hmm.
But there's still, even some people are born with the damn tail still.
Mm-hmm.
We've lost a lot of things maybe that we just don't know we've lost. What would it be used for? That's a great question. Flashlights? Remember, that's before they had batteries. That would actually be cool. If you could turn it on and off, lights coming out of your eyes, that'd be a real helpful tool to an early man, wouldn't it now?
I mean, it could also be a tool for recognizing each other in the dark.
Correct. Communication, silent communication.
Yes.
For hunting. It could be a tool for just lighting things up. Just like, how many times you all use your iPhone to light up the whatever and look, and you drop your whatever, and you're going to grab that flashlight and you start looking for it. So I'll leave you guys on all that fun information.
that is a mic drop, that because like you said, now I could go on for a while, but we're going to book you on the show again. We'll have communications offline.
Okay, perfect.
By email. I want people to go to Kickstarter.
No, the Kickstarter's done.
Oh, okay.
You got to go to Hangar One Publishing, and there's no Kickstarter's gone. So all it says is a pre-order. You can pre-order the doc, and you'll get your name in the credits and all that. And there are some other levels if you want to. But generally, we really hope more people order the doc. So, Hangar One Publishing. Yep, that's that simple. Yep.
Copy. And check Doug out. We will have everything that I can find on Doug in our show notes will be included. Man, it was just awesome having you. So much fun.
I really apologize. I've never done that. It's the first time I ever. My day was so crazy that there's no way I could ever possibly have a meeting tonight. Or another activity. I thought,
it's
I'm free.
Totally cool, man. Totally cool.
So I apologize.
We're so happy to have you, and we just can't wait because you are just so much fun.
No, it was a blast for me. Thank you, Matt. You just give me your address. We'll get you that damn hat off.
That's awesome, man. I appreciate it.
Okay, you're welcome.
He is the man. So Julie, as Julie likes to say, if you would like and subscribe us on YouTube and your favorite podcast app, we'd appreciate that. And on behalf of Mr. Hajicek, Debs, and Matt, this is DJ saying peace out, one love. We'll see you down the road, and we're always wondering what's up around the bend.